Happiness is a bridge to our children, our family, and the world and in my case, my grandchildren. Happiness is a bridge to our children, family, and the whole world we need to reach with the gospel. And because they want happiness, and God's Word tells us that the gospel is the gospel of Jesus Christ, that gospel, the only true gospel, is the good news of happiness. Isaiah 52:7, quoted in Romans. Happiness is a bridge, and we need to, instead of trying to burn down that bridge, we should say, you're looking for happiness? Let me tell you where to find it. It's in Jesus. Not, happiness is bad and you're wrong to seek it, and the Christian faith has nothing to do with happiness, but here's what God calls the good news of happiness. Whenever Christians speak against happiness or the desire to be happy, we burn the bridge. We burn the bridge to the gospel, the good news of happiness, and now it's not about happiness, and God isn't in favor of happiness, we say, and therefore the gospel is no longer what? No longer good news. How do you respond when you hear good news? 100% of the time, good news always makes us what? Happy. And bad news makes us sad. Okay? If the gospel really is good news, even if God hadn't called it the good news of happiness, which He did, and it's inspired, if it's good news, of course it brings happiness. What else does good news bring? I mean, it may bring many other things. I mean, certainly our salvation brings us many more things in addition to happiness. But it does bring us and should bring us happiness. And if the gospel doesn't make you happy, something is wrong. And I don't think it's the gospel. In fact, if you think you have the gospel and you've embraced it, the good news of God's grace to us in Jesus, and it doesn't have the effect of making you happy, I think what you're believing is not really the true good news. Because if you get it, what it is. Now, if I believe the gospel, but it doesn't really make me happy. I believe the gospel that you got to do this and you got to do this and check off this box and check off this box, and then you're going to be fail because you're a miserable sinner, and then you grovel and you maybe take the little things with spikes and put it in leather and hit yourself in the back, and now that's not going to make you happy. And the reason is because it's not the gospel. That's not good news. If the gospel involved having to crawl up and work our way to heaven, that would not be good news. That would be very bad news. There was many, many years ago, who here is old enough, probably me and Christopher anyway, to remember, there was a baby Jessica who fell in the well. You know that story. You remember it. Okay, so, all right, good. Actually makes me feel good. Because sometimes you'll use an illustration. But that's for a different reason that you don't remember it. But no. But anyway, no. So she's down at the bottom of this, I don't know, I'll say 80-foot deep well, I don't know. But I mean, she's way, way, way down underground. See, that story that made this a great story is not that baby Jessica, who was she 18 months old or 2 years old, whatever, that she crawled up out of that hole and came out on top. That was not what that story was about. It was about people rescuing her because she was helpless. Now, the good news was not that baby Jessica had the ability to get herself out, but that other people loved her enough and people sacrificed enough and successfully got her out of that well. Now that's good news, and that made her parents happy, and in retrospect, I'm sure it makes her happy, and I'm sure at the time it made her happy to be rescued. If it doesn't make you happy, it's not good news.